implementation. Husna Mohammed, KTN News.
Thank you, Husna Mohammed. Still maintaining with that beat of the health sector, but not in line with what Husna has talked about, the universal healthcare coverage, the bills that are supposed to be assented to by President William Ruto today ahead of tomorrow's Mashujade celebration in Kericho. I want us to have a conversation about the prevention week. I mean infection prevention week, sorry for that. And with me in studio is none other than Mary Kamau, a director at the nursing services at the Nairobi Hospital. Good morning.
Good morning, Brenda.
Thank you for joining us here on KTN News this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
And of course, now our viewers are going to learn more because I'm seated with an expert in studio, the director nursing services at the Nairobi Hospital, Mary Kamau, just to talk to us about what infection prevention is all about. And let me begin with that first question. What is, when we talk about infection prevention, what are we talking about exactly? And which are these infectious diseases that can be prevented and which ones cannot be prevented?
Yeah. Thank you, Blenda. And good morning, viewers. Infection prevention are conditions where you find that we have things that we can be able to prevent ourselves, like, for example, conditions like cholera, conditions like common cold, conditions like COVID, things that we can be able to prevent with the basic measures like hand washing. Those are the things that we talk about, infection prevention measures. And there are many things that are involved in infection prevention. Yes.
Okay. And when you talk about prevention, just washing hands, because I remember when COVID was announced in the country, that was back in 2020.
Yes.
By the then CS for Health.
Yes.
And everyone was wearing masks.
Yes.
And cases of flu, cold were no longer there.
Yes.
Can we go back to that as one way of doing prevention?
Yes, it's a good measure, and that is why we are celebrating this week and creating awareness, actually promoting awareness, where people need to just basically wash hands. If you remember that time, many people, all areas, whether malls, we had hand washing points, but then after the disease has gone down, people have gone down, and we've gone back to infections. So basically, putting on masks is very, very important, washing of hands, and also even Google said, for example, there are times when you have got an infectious person in the ward, there we need to really protect ourselves because we have what we call PPE, personal protective equipment, that we use. But for the common man and in the community, what we advocate for is washing of hands all the time. And this goes on along when before cooking, after changing the child, after you have visited the toilet. All these are areas that you can be able to prevent because majority of these infections, they come as a result of what we carry with our own hands.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what are some of the diseases that cannot be prevented?
There are those diseases that cannot be prevented. For example, there are diseases like the lifestyle diseases, like diabetes, like diseases like renal because of complication of diabetes. Most of them are lifestyle diseases that cannot be prevented. But majority of diseases, for example, TB, you can be able to prevent by use of vaccines. And also you can prevent others, like now what I was talking about, common colds, things like urinary tract infection. Also, you can washing hands can prevent that. But those diseases that are kidney failure, diabetes, those are areas, those are lifestyle diseases. And you find that those are very common and heart conditions that you cannot do anything about that.
Okay.
Yes.
So as we're talking about Infection Week prevention, what is the theme for this year and how does it relate to us as a country?
Now, infection prevention theme this week, we are celebrating the fundamentals of infection prevention. Actually, that is the theme, celebrating the fundamentals of infection prevention in the country. And it is very important for us because we are being told that if we can be able to do simple basic measures, we can be able to prevent infection. That is basically why it is very, very important for us to celebrate, and it is apparently celebrated globally. It's not only in Kenya, it is celebrated globally. Actually, the celebration started back in 1986 by President Reagan, Ronald Reagan of America, when he really said there are simple measures we can be able to do and prevent infection. And prevent, of course, get a healthy population.
All right.
Yes.
And you know, when you're talking about simple measures, it just brings into my mind what you said earlier on, things like, you know, if you have probably flu or cold, wear a mask, wash your hands. And I really don't want to call it laziness. You're in the health sector. You're better placed to advise us where that is the way that we should continue going as a country or as an individual. You know, when COVID came, and then we were told, okay, if you're not near a place where there is water, if you don't have access to clean water and soap, use sanitizer. So nowadays you're seeing every time sanitizer, eat without even washing your hands. I have a sanitizer, let me just sanitize and eat. Can that prevent an infection?
Yes, it can. Washing hands alone can prevent infection, and even we advocate where you have no water, you can use the hand sanitizer. However, we always say at some stage you have to make sure that you also have to wash your hands, not the whole day you are sanitizing. But it is a better measure because you can even carry small hand sanitizer in your bag even if you do not have water. So you find that can really make improve in terms of hygiene and in terms of reducing the infections.
Okay, so as much as someone who likes using hand sanitizer, you're also advocating that it is important to wash your hands.
Yes, you can only use sanitizer for so long. So after some time, you're told after you have sanitized your hands for about 5 or even an hour, it's good you wash your hands. It is healthy because you remove a lot of microorganisms from your hands with basic soap and water. Yes.
You know, the reason I was asking you, it's because, let me just give a scenario. Probably I'm working within the interior parts of this country.
Yes.
No clean water, no access to clean water and soap to wash my hands.
Yes.
I've been using sanitizer the whole day. Can I, before I access that clean water and soap, can I've sanitized my hand, can I, if I'm eating ugali, can I just eat, or I need to have wipe it first and then now use the sanitizer, then eat?
No, what happens with the sanitizer, usually it's alcohol based. So what happens is once you have sanitized, it dries. So you are good. You are good to go. You sanitize and the hands dries. You don't have to necessarily use the wipe, but unless you are very sure about the wipes themselves. But yes, you can use your hands.
Okay.
You have to use this, yes.
Okay. And you know, earlier this week on the 15th of October, it was an important day because the world also marked the Global Hand Washing Day. You know, it goes hand in hand with what I'd asked you earlier, Rowan, the importance of washing their hands. How is it linked with the International Infection Prevention Day, week actually?
Yeah, thank you, Brenda. Okay, the International Hand Washing Day is a global hand washing campaign that was actually launched in 2008, and it was launched when we had about 120 million children wash hands in 70 countries, and that it was launched in Sweden. And that time they had an International Water Week Day, and at that time they realized that if we do simple measures and we tell people washing hands is necessary, and washing hands by soap and water, you're going to prevent a lot of infections, particularly diarrhea diseases and respiratory infection diseases. That is when it was started, and it is very related to the Infection Prevention Week because we are talking of fundamentals of infections, of infection prevention, and one of the fundamental is hand washing. So that is why it is very much related, and we advocate so much about the hand washing. It's a simple measure that will prevent a lot of infections.
I know this might sound like a silly question, not really silly, but I've seen people wash hands differently. There are those who will wash their hands, I don't know, like 3 or 4 times when you want to eat or you want to do something, you just feel your hands are dirty. Then there are those people who will just open the tap, wash without using soap, dry it, and you're gone. And there are those who will just put soap, araka, and you're done and you go. So what is the best way of washing the hands? It may seem like a basic question, but clearly we need a bit of some education over here.
It is very important to have to know the steps of hand washing. Just putting water and just leaving the way you see when people put your hand with one hand
like this,
and then they go and start eating. That is not right. There are some steps and stages of hand washing. Ideally there's supposed to be 6 stages. What you normally do, I don't know whether I can demonstrate.
You can.
Yes, you put first, you wet your hands and you put the sabuni, the soap that you need
on both hands.
On both hands. And you have wet. Then you make friction is what happens. And usually there are stages. So what we normally do, we say you can come 1 up to 5, or you just simple way of saying happy birthday to you. That is 1. Then you go on top. Happy birthday to you. 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 Then you move on to clean the toes. What are the fingers? And then you do both hands. And then you have every stage is about 5 seconds.
Okay.
5 seconds, and these are about all the stages. So you are taking care of the palm, you're taking of behind of the hand, you're also taking care of the tips on both hands, you're also taking care of the thumb, both side, and also the tips of the finger. Here, and then finally you end up with this one.
So this normal behavior of I've put, okay, my hands are wet, I've put soap, and then I'm just doing this.
No.
You know, that's how I actually wash our hands.
No,
you just see someone doing this, and then, okay, rinse my hands and I go.
No, ideally, there are those steps that we use, particularly so much in the healthcare, to make sure that every single part of our body, of the hands, has been touched. The nails, and the palm, the behind of the palm, the finger, the tips of the finger, and the thumb, and then here, then we rinse.
All right.
Yes.
And you know, even as we take that break in a second, Mary, I'm seeing you're doing this, and I'm just looking at your nails. They look well kept. They're short.
Yes.
It's not like some of us women, we have those long nails. So I'm thinking, by the time I'm doing like this, there's some dirt in the middle of them. So what is the best length of nails that a human being should have?
Actually, we are not supposed to have very long long nails. Ideally, the nails should be reaching at the tip of the finger, so that now you are able to clean. Because when they are very long, like the ones we add as ladies, you find that there's dirt, and that is why you're finding mine that way. It's because we, in the practice, in our health practice, we find that you can put a lot of dirt to the patient. So we make sure that we minimize. And there are times when you are taking a bath, particularly washing your hands, particularly in the theaters, we are allowed you to use a brush. But since you do not have the brush out there, it is advisable that you try to minimize the length of the nails, and then they look nice and presentable. Wow. Yes.
You know, when you're talking, I was looking at mine.
Yes, because you can never clean inside the nails. It is advisable, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And it's good that camera person has not zoomed in into my nails, because I feel challenged. Not that my nails are too long, but I feel challenged. Just one way of preventing infection.
Yes, and spreading the infection, because you can carry a lot of microorganisms with your fingers.
Okay, so ladies, I hope you had it. Those long extended nails, you know, can actually cause an infection. So one way of preventing it is just by reducing the length of the nails that we have. Not that mine are long, they're just a good length. Let's take a short commercial break. We'll be right back with more when it comes to this conversation about you know, preventing infection week, even as Kenya joins the rest of the world in celebrating this important day.